Hello bookworms! Today I'm here with my August book haul. Before I get into showing you all of the books that I picked up this month, I just want to say a huge thank you to Ginger and Molly, who were kind enough to send me a duplicate that they had of Professor McGonagall. I am so happy because this is actually the Harry Potter blind box figure that I wanted the most out of any of them in that entire set, and this one is much harder to get than the rest of them because I think you have a 1 in 72 chance, whereas the rest of them you have a 1 in 12 chance. So Ginger had known that I wanted it, and she emailed me and asked if I wanted her to send me her extra, and obviously I said yes. Thank you so much. So I'm just so happy to have her and to add her to my collection. And then her daughter Molly also made me a very cute card, and I love it. And she actually drew Hermione on the back, which is so cute. So thank you again. This really means so much to me, and I am just, I have her backward. I am just so happy to have her, and I love her. So as always, I'm going to start with all of the new releases for the month that I picked up. The first book that I have to show you is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. This is the first book in a series, and it is an adult fantasy series. There's a lot of debate over whether people like the US cover or the UK cover better, and I like both of them, but I just really love the US one because I just think that this photo-esque image of this girl with the mask is just so striking, and I would love to see someone cosplay this character. I just think it's so beautiful, and I also love the typography. It's just gorgeous. So anybody who bought this book, you obviously probably still have the opportunity to do so, but every single first edition is actually a signed first edition, which is really cool. Open it up, you can see J. Kristoff signed it there. I was really excited to get this. The thing is, I started reading this and I read about 50 pages or so, and I had been reading it on the train, which is always loud. People are always loud on there. So it was difficult to concentrate, and this is a book that you really need full concentration for. And since it's the end of the summer, I was just in the mood for something lighter. So after those 50 pages, I decided to put it down, and I'm gonna try to read it again now that we're getting into the fall season, because I just didn't have the concentration at that point. What did I read last? I feel like I had read a book and it kind of ruined my emotions, and I just couldn't get into that headspace. I just needed something light and fluffy. So that's been my experience so far with this book, but I feel like I will love it once I get into the mood for it. Then I picked up The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pearson. This is the third book in the Remnant Chronicles series, and it's the final book as well. For those who don't know, this series in the first book follows a princess who runs away from getting married. She doesn't want any part of this, so she decides to flee on her wedding day, and then she is hunted down by the prince that she was supposed to marry, as well as an assassin. And for about the first 3/4 of the book, you don't actually know which person is the assassin and which person is the prince. So that was really interesting, and it was really fun to read along and try to figure out who was who. I have not yet read the second book, so I need to read that before I can read this one, but I wanted to just complete the series. But this book is enormous. It's so big, so I don't actually know when I'm gonna be reading the second one and then this one, because I thought that it was going to be shorter, and I was I'll just marathon these two books. But now that it's so big, I'm hesitant to read them. So I don't know. I'll see when I get to them. Then I picked up A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir, and I read an arc of this book that I got at BEA, and I loved it so very much. You can find my full thoughts about it in my wrap-up, which I'll leave linked down below. This one was just an amazing second book. Definitely loved it so much. So definitely read this one if you read An Ember in the Ashes, because it's so great. Then I got a finished copy of The Thousandth Floor by Katherine Mckee. I read an arc of this book that I got at BEA also, and I really loved it because it is basically Gossip Girl, but in a very futuristic New York. It takes place in 2118 in a building which essentially is all of New York. Everyone in New York just lives in this one building, and the more wealthy people live at the top of the building, and the less fortunate people live toward the bottom. And there's they've extracted pieces of Central Park and made a synthetic Central Park on one of the floors, and everybody travels by like hovercrafts, and it's really, really awesome. I just loved all of the like different technology and the way that the author interpreted how the future would be. I thought it was really, really good, so I definitely wanted to get a finished copy of it. And this book is just really pretty, and look at these end papers. They're gold and glittery, and I just love them. Like, I'm already really wishing that the second book was coming out like tomorrow so that I can find out what's gonna happen. This is really exciting. Oh, also, like, a major thing that makes this book exciting is that the book begins with one of the characters falling to their death off of one of the top floors of this building, and then it flashes back a month or two, and you read everything leading up to that point, and you don't know which character it is that is going to be the one that falls at the beginning of the book. So you might get attached to someone, and then they might not make it, and that's really sad. But it was really good. I definitely recommend it. Next, I picked up The Architect of Song by A.G. Howard. This is the first book in the Haunted Hearts legacy. This is one that I'm really excited for because I've heard great things about it. It's inspired by Beauty and the Beast. The main character is deaf. There is a ghost story going on. There's a love story going on. And it's also a new adult book. It just sounds phenomenal to me, and I believe that it was independently published, so that's why you might not have heard about it. Like, you've probably heard about A.G. Howard's other book coming out, which is Roseblood. That comes out in January. I'm really looking forward to that one because that one is inspired by Phantom of the Opera. But in the meantime, I cannot wait to read this, and I love the cover. I think it's so pretty, and there's all of these like sheets of music, and it's about this woman who's like losing her estate, and she like forms this like alliance with a ghost, and the two of them are trying to work to like let her keep her estate so it doesn't get taken over from this architect who apparently has lots of secrets from his past, and it just sounds so great. Then I got It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Again, I still have not yet read a Colleen Hoover book, but this one has been getting really good reviews. I have not read what it's about because so far every booktube video that I've watched, everyone is like, you should go into this book blind. So I have said, okay, that is what I will do. I don't want to know what it's about, but it has a very beautiful cover that I really enjoy, and I am looking forward to reading this one. And then speaking of Colleen Hoover, I also picked up November 9, which is the book that she wrote before this newest book. And I know that this one is about a writer, and he has like a female that is kind of like his muse, and they have this like this standing date on November 9th. They meet every year, and that's how he gets inspiration for the books that he's writing. And I would imagine that they fall in love, but who knows? So this looks good too. And again, I also really enjoyed this cover. I feel like she recently just started coming out with books with like great covers, so I hope that they kind of like continue in this vein and maybe even go back and give new covers to some of her old books because these are just beautiful. Then I picked up Drown by Esther Delcino, and this book is inspired by The Little Mermaid, so that was like an insta-buy for me. It sounds really, really interesting. I love pretty much anything with mermaids. Little Mermaid is my favorite Disney film. I love the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale as well, even though it is kind of dark. So I heard that this book is equally as dark, which is exciting because it just sounds like it's going to be interesting. And it's actually really short. It's only, I think it's like just over 200 pages. So I might try to read this if there's any like readathons coming up or something, or just because it looks great. And then speaking of fairy tales, I got this beautiful version of Beauty and the Beast and Other Classic Fairy Tales. This is one of the Barnes & Noble Classics editions. I pre-ordered this one before it even had a cover, and I just love it so much because I feel like normally when there's anything Beauty and the Beast related, they tend to do a lot of yellows, and this is like a pearlized pink/purple color. So it's just so pretty, and I think the cover is gorgeous, and it has silver pages, and then the back you've got like a castle, and there's like a beast face, and it's just beautiful. Like I have said numerous times, but I seriously just love these books. They're just They are gorgeous and they're such a good value because they're only like $20. They're also coming out with a Little Mermaid version in like a month or two that I also pre-ordered, and I can't wait to get that one. And then I also got another classics edition this month, and that is this book of Greek myths. That's also a Barnes & Noble book. This one's only $9 and has very scary Medusa on the cover, but it's so pretty and the green is like very shiny. So I just love it, and like I love like the wave borders and everything's just so pretty. This also has silver pages and it's shorter. It says, "That is Medusa. Do not look at her. The sight would turn you to stone, so don't look at this book cover." Then I got the Word Cloud classic edition of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and this I am so excited to add to my collection of Christmas books. I have another version of A Christmas Carol, but I just think that this one is so striking. I love how it's like the deep emerald green and then the bright red letters. I'm very much looking forward to taking some photos, like Bookstagram photos of this in the coming months as I get more and more excited for Christmas time. Then the next book that I got, I actually showed something similar in my last book haul, but this is another book of all interviews with Hayao Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli. The first book was called Starting Point, and that was all like early interviews with him as he was building Studio Ghibli and all the films that he worked on. And then this book, which is the second book, is called Turning Point, and it's all of his interviews and inspiration from 1997 until 2008, so it's all of his like later works, and it just sounds really good. We have some Spirited Away and Ponyo and Princess Mononoke on the cover. Oh, Hal and Sophie are on the back, who I love. That's probably my favorite Ghibli movie of them all, or second favorite. It's tied with Kiki's Delivery Service. I can't choose. I love both of them. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one too, but obviously I have to read the other book first because chronological. So then I can't remember if I've hauled this one, but I got it like impulsively on Book Outlet because it was really cheap. It's called Drink, Slay, Love, and it's by Sarah Beth Durst. It looks like a dumb vampire book, but like one that would be kind of ridiculous and enjoyable because it follows this girl who becomes a vampire after she gets stabbed by a unicorn horn, and then she's able to also like walk in daylight, and it just sounds really interesting. And then I just found out recently that apparently it's being made into either a movie or TV series or something, and Bella Thorne is going to be directing it. So I was like, oh, that's so funny. I just recently got that book for super cheap, so I definitely want to read it before the adaptation comes out. And then finally, this is not a book, but it is book related, and it is this Hermione Granger film artifact box. They have these at Barnes & Noble for Hermione, Ron, and Harry, and I actually just ordered the Harry one because I've been getting them every time that I get a Barnes & Noble coupon. But it's really cute, and it has lots of stuff inside from the film. The Hermione one comes with like a Yule Ball poster and love potion and tickets for platform 9 3/4 and an ornament from the Yule Ball. I'm actually gonna open it. Oh. So the poster actually comes wrapped with this like pretty pink ribbon, so I don't want to open it because it's tied so nicely. And then this is the Yule Ball Christmas ornament. It's a snowflake. It says Yule Ball at Hogwarts. And obviously I love this pink ribbon because pink. Then there's a little box of love potion. There's like a little love potion bottle with a cute little tassel. Then there's a little like paper with a graph of all of the classes that Hermione has to attend. And they're all like listed by day, as well as a little signed card to Hermione from Gilderoy Lockhart. This is one of the platform 9 3/4. I guess I could use this as a bookmark, which is kind of nice. And then there is exam paperwork. So it's for answering all the questions in a Hogwarts test. That was just really cute. So I've been enjoying those, and again, that's something that I'll probably use in future Bookstagram photos. So those are all of the books that I got in August. I actually feel like I had a smaller haul this month than I was anticipating, but I think it might be because I did get a bunch of manga, and I am going to film a separate manga and graphic novel haul of everything that I've acquired since the last one that I posted, so that should also be up shortly. But that's all that I have for this video. Let me know some of the books that you picked up in August, and I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!